And again, Bambu Lab, if the legal team at Bambu Lab is watching this, make my day.
Okay, a couple days ago, I did a video about Bambu Labs and the repository that was taken down that was a fork of Bambu Studio. I would encourage you to go and watch that video if you're curious about what he's actually talking about. I'm not going to necessarily go over all this, but basically somebody forked Bambu Studio, and then Bambu Labs came and sent him a threatening email and a cease and desist and all of that because he forked open source software. And now Rossman has come out with another response, and it seems like the code that the other developer took down, Rossman has chosen to take up this fight and repost the code on his own personal GitHub and assume responsibility for taking on Bambu Labs because the original developer didn't want to, which I can understand. Rossman has the resources to fight this, and the developer probably didn't. So let's go ahead and let's take a look right here at what Rossman has to say.
Chrome or Safari or Firefox, there are websites that will be able to tell which web browser you are using because the web browser reports something called a user agent. That's kind of like its name. It's kind of like the make and model of a car. So when you use Safari, it will report Safari version this or Chrome version 50. That's the way it works. And Bambu's software is the same. So when he created his fork of this software so that you could use your printer the way you did before, he left in Bambu's own AGPL code that said the name of the software and the version.
Yeah. That's how this worked. The user agent is open source for Bambu Studio.
Version of the software. He never even modified this part of the software. He literally reused Bambu's own AGPL code released under an AGPL license that allows anybody to be able to redistribute, modify, and use the code as they please. Bambu Lab said as follows: when this particular OrcaSlicer-4 communicates with our cloud services, it quietly introduces itself as official Bambu Studio with a hard-coded version number and all. That's precisely the point where code modification crosses into impersonation.
Okay, that's kind of like locking a door, but then making the key available to the whole world. You cannot lock a door and then give a key to everybody, then complain that the whole world used the key. This wasn't an effective locking mechanism because the code to unlock their door that they put on their printers was open source and it was on their GitHub repo. You can't complain about that.
And distributing AGPL code? Absolutely. But impersonating official clients in communication with our cloud infrastructure is not allowed. Now, this is interesting to me for a number of reasons because he never actually modified the code. He's literally using Bambu Lab's own open source AGPL code without modifying it. And I link it right here in this wiki. He did not impersonate anything. He literally just used that software. Now, they're saying that they're...
You can't impersonate open source software if you literally put the user agent as AGPL code. Bambu Labs chose to fork Slicer and several other forks. They're in a chain of forks and use AGPL code to make Bambu Studio. You cannot complain that you took community code and then the community code went and forked your code when you did something that you didn't like. Nobody forced Bambu Labs to use this code.
Cloud is a private service and access to it is governed by a user agreement in terms of service, not an AGPL license. But they're not filing a takedown on anything related to their cloud service. They're filing a takedown notice on his AGPL code, which is literally a copy and paste of Bambu Studios' AGPL code.
Yeah, they can't do that. They made an agreement with the community as soon as they used AGPL software, and they literally posted it on their GitHub like they were required to with the AGPL. You can't complain when someone uses your code.
AGPL license code is licensed as follows.
And I quote, "You may not impose any further restrictions on the exercise of the rights granted or affirmed under this license. All other non-permissive additional terms are considered further restrictions within the meaning of Section 10. If the program as you received it or any part of it contains a notice stating it is governed by this license, along with a term that is a further restriction, you may remove that term."
Okay, so I kind of sped over that because I went over that particular concept in my other video.
AGPL license code means that anything you make from it cannot have further restrictions on it. That is the price if you want to reuse somebody else's open source code, and that's what they agreed to. Now, here's what the terms of use of Bambu's cloud say. Except as otherwise expressly permitted, you shall not, nor allow any other person to misappropriate, intrude, or make other inappropriate use of the product, included but not limited to modify, discoder, I think they mean disorder, but maybe that's a typo, copy, reverse engineer, publish, publicly disseminate, decompile, export codes, disassemble, or create derivatives of the product in any way.
The open source repository did none of that. All it did was reproduce the open source code that they were allowed to reproduce.
That's not how this works. They filed a takedown notice on a code library that is literally a copy and paste of Bambu Lab's own code. A Reddit user made a great analogy here. It's more like someone opened a gym on a public square and then decided to try to forbid people from using the public square. I can't...
Kind of like my locked door analogy. Same concept.
Open a gym in Union Square and then get people in trouble for trespassing on my gym that was built on somebody else's property. You can't do that. That's not how any of this works. The thing that I find the funniest about this is not only did they try to get the code taken down this way, they also tried to use Section 1201, which says you're not allowed to break a digital lock to get...
He didn't break a digital lock. Key to the digital lock was open source. He didn't break anything. He used the key that Bambu Labs handed us.
Gain access to a protected work. Here, you can't do that. There's no breaking of a digital lock here. There's not even a digital lock. It's literally he literally took your own software and then your cloud service just accepted it. If you want to sue somebody, you can sue yourself. But I'm going to give you a great opportunity here because you think that Section 1201 actually applies here. Section 1201 does come with a maximum penalty of up to 3 to 5 years in federal prison. And I understand why somebody else would not want to deal with that. So I uploaded the code to my own GitHub. If you want to check it out here.
Louis Rossman would do this too. He probably got the code from the developer and he probably just said, fine, send me the code. I'm not sure if this actually happened, by the way. And he agreed just to upload it himself. And honestly, you don't want to mess with Louis Rossman. He has a history of winning cases like this.
If you're one of the lawyers for Bambu Labs, that one of the people that is stupid enough to take this fucking case, I sincerely hope that you are not taking this case on contingency, by the way. Please charge an hourly fee. But just in case you think that this is going to be an easy win, let me just introduce myself. Hi, my name is Louis Rossman. 10 years ago, Apple's law firm, Kilpatrick & Townsend, asked that I would remove my repair videos because they had schematics in them, and I never did. They've remained up for over the last 10 years. In Colorado, I was able to get a right to repair bill passed that John Deere was opposed to. We also got one passed for wheelchairs. In Minnesota, we were also able to get a right to repair bill passed. In Colorado, Cisco tried to ruin that bill along with IBM, spent several $100,000 trying to, and we won there. When I worked at Fudo, I recruited a team that creates an application called GreyJ, a third-party viewer that allows you to view YouTube videos and videos across all platforms. Google didn't like this. They sent a cease and desist to us. I responded to them, and GreyJ remains up to this day, and you can still download it. Another company wanted to sue me for about $10,000 a day. One day after my response, his lawyer fired him. If you think that you can do better than Apple, Google, Cisco, IBM, John Deere, and the entire medical industry, well, be my guest. You can try.
You don't want to fuck with Louis Rossman. You really don't.
But I don't think it's going to end very well for you. And here's a message that I have for Bambu Labs. If you so much as send me a fucking postcard, here's what I'm going to do to you. Number one, I'm going to hire the best lawyers to destroy your entire Section 1201 claim. We will make you look so bad that this will be part of the precedent that we use for reforming this law in the United States of America. Number two, AGPL violations. AGPL violations are when large companies use open source code that other people have made and they don't redistribute it or they place limits on it. That is against the license. John Deere has done this. Vizio has done this. Tons of companies do this because they realize that for the most part, the people that make code like this, the people that are just willing to help the community and make code that anybody can use and redistribute with no limits on it, they tend to be a little bit more socialistic-y, communist-y in nature. I'm not even saying that as a bad thing. My point is they're just not the type of people that have a lawyer on speed dial to say, sue that company and get them in trouble for this. They're just the type of people that just want to make and create cool stuff and have fun and help the world. And
this is what we need in the open source community. Someone to come and enforce the license. Not to knock on these small developers. They really don't have the resources to fight these big companies. And Louis Rossman does have backing. We need somebody to make an example of what happens when people screw with open source licenses. The reason why these companies get away with it is because nobody fights them on it. And Louis Rossman is the type of person that we need to go in and fight this so that we'll think twice before stealing open source code and not releasing it or trying to put digital locks on open source code against the license and stuff like that. Now, granted, yes, there are open source licenses out there that do allow any type of use, including locking down changes like the MIT license, the BSD license, stuff like that. But the AGPL is a copyleft license. It's not a permissive one, which means that they agreed to certain terms, which includes allowing modification of code, allowing redistributing of the code, allowing redistributing of modifications to the code.
Most companies know this. They realize that there's nobody to go after people who take part in these types of flagrant AGPL violations. That's
exactly. Nobody wants to go after them because they don't have the resources to fight big companies. Somebody needs to actually fight them on this.
It's not me. I know the organizations that have gone after the companies that have abused a GPL license code and tried to hide it behind some sort of paywall or restriction later, that have not reproduced it or lied about using a GPL code, some of them with great success. And I've even
Selling a GPL license software and GPL license software and all of that is legal. This is free as in freedom, not free as in cost.
more than happy to call them up and ask if they could start going after you. Combing through all your code, combing through your terms of service, seeing what laws you've broken, seeing whether or not you should have to redo your entire fucking software stack from beginning to end in order to not be in violation. Whatever amount of money that you cost me, I will ensure that I cost you a minimum of 5 to 20 times that in legal fees. I am that confident in the fact that your case is garbage. So do your best. Try to take down my GitHub repo. Send me a cease and desist. I look forward to your notice. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. And again, Bambu Lab, if the legal team at Bambu Lab is watching this, make my day.
I honestly hope that they actually do go after Louis Rossman. This would be high-level entertainment because Bambu Labs knows they're going to lose. They know they don't have a leg to stand on. I really hope that they do, and that Louis Rossman makes an example out of Bambu Labs. And here are some other famous words.
And if you're watching this Bambu Labs, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.